on? This is Brandon.
This is Joshua.
Hey, this is Dave.
And this is Rocko and Estevan
of I Need You Dead. And you are now tuned into PVD
Horror. All right, there you go.
Wow.
There you go.
I couldn't even tell that was two people.
Really? Wow.
We've never had two guys so in sync before. That was perfect.
Nice job.
Perfect,
You
guys.
can fix it in post.
So Rocko and Estevan, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
I'm very excited to dig in and talk about this film. So the film that we're going to be really focusing on today is I Need You Dead, which is a 2021 film that's coming out actually this coming weekend. What's the date this weekend?
The 26th and 27th is our New York City premiere. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah.
And it came out on streaming today.
Literally today. So
Yep,
yeah.
on
That's
Vudu, Amazon. If you look it up on your Roku, you will find it, or your smart television, you will find it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So I love what you guys have been doing with the Bad Taste crew and putting together like all this content. You guys have some dope short films and music videos. How long have you guys been working together for?
Thank you. Estevan and I particularly have been working together for quite a long time, actually. Estevan, would you like to share how we first encountered one another?
Yes. Me and Rocko met in line at a Death Grips concert in 2015 when they were touring their magnificent double album, The Powers That Be. And
we both got there 3 hours early.
We both got there 3 hours early. He had a girlfriend. I was alone. So like it was ripe to be meeting a potential new friend. But basically we just met in line and we started talking and we quickly became online friends. And I think the thing that struck me, or I think like why we gravitated towards one another, was because we were both movie people who were making music as well. And we both had that kind of like both of our feet in both of those worlds. Like I was and still am rapping, and Rocko at the time was in a band. And so we kind of bonded over that. And then it was just very natural for us to like make music videos together. Like he directed some music videos to one of my songs. And then, a friendship just kind of kept blossoming. Rocko like booked me for shows. And then he eventually asked me to move in. And around that time, he was working on the earliest stirrings of I Need You Dead. And I was just I didn't even know at that point, like if I was going to even be in it. I think he just came to me and just wanted some just like script feedback, just generally just someone to read it. And I had already been doing, like, I started acting when I was like 6. Like I was a theater kid from like age 6 to 12. And then it kind of stopped in high school, but that's when I was just doing other creative stuff. But it was essentially that. It was a Death Grips concert, and we both had very similar, I guess, just like professional aspirations, and we both just got along really well. So that's essentially how we met.
No, it's been about maybe 7 years or something. 6 years.
I think it was 2015, so it was
coming up on 7.
Yeah, 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
But we've lived together twice at this point.
Yeah, we've lived together twice now, and
in 2 different spots, which is funny.
And yeah, we worked on a variety of music videos together. One of which, Brandon, you were mentioning some of the shorts on the YouTube channel. Did you happen to watch Michael Motorcycle, perchance?
Yeah, the short film with Estevan. So it was kind of like with the drugs, and he was just going around with the camcorder.
Yeah. That was kind of our test run to see if our cast and crew would work for I Need You Dead. And it was the first time that I didn't shoot everything and like do it all myself, but I had like a crew. And Estevan played the lead in that and kind of plays a dude-like character in it.
Yeah, I feel like even conceptually that music video is just like a good kind of beta version of I Need You Dead, where it's essentially like the same themes that is like explored to like a greater degree in the feature-length movie. But yeah, I mean, all around like that specific project, because that's when you also met Brooks, who was the cinematographer.
Yeah,
and that was the first time
the whole core crew of all of I Need You Dead came from that one music video. Our special effects artist, our gaffer, our director of photography, Estevan as a lead. So yeah, it all really kind of stemmed from that. But yeah, sorry, this has been like the most convoluted, long answer to like the most simple question on the planet.
No, that's all right.
It was thorough. It was thorough.
So Rocco, you're in New York, right?
Yes.
And Estevan, are you in Portland or are you in?
I'm still in Portland. I'm in Portland. I'm literally about to visit New York City in a couple of days, which I haven't seen Rocco since he moved, but still in Portland for right now.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you're going down for the premiere?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think both nights. Will any of you be there?
Nah, I'm not gonna be able to make it.
Okay. Wait, where are you guys? Oh, you're in Long Island. Oh, okay.
Oh, we're in Rhode Island.
Oh, Rhode Island. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Long Island, they'd have no excuse, but Rhode Island is far away enough.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna New York.
It's not 3 hours away.
If we can get this film over here, though, I would love to.
And I wanted to bring up because in January we're gonna do a weekend, and I think we're gonna go to Salem and Boston and Portland, Portland.
Oh, I love Maine. Yeah.
And so we should figure something out that weekend and come by. I think that would be good. So yeah, we'll figure that out afterwards. But
cool.
Sounds good.
That's pretty sweet. So you both don't work for Troma, right? Just Rocco?
Yeah.
I don't work for Troma. No.
I'm in the Troma offices right now.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet office. I don't lie. It's better than my office.
I mean,
it's 5 degrees.
All right.
Your office has a lot of character, man. I don't know. Like honestly, I would maybe rather be in that room than Rocco's room.
Yeah, it's cozy looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's no heat in here. I have a heater.
Okay. Well, we are entering the winter.
Yeah. It's fucking freezing. So I guess this question is for Rocco. Sorry, man. Cutting you right out.
I'll just leave. It's fine.
Welcome to the podcast. This question's not for you. What's it like working at Troma?
It's good, man.
Well, you have to say that because you work here, right?
Yeah, Lloyd's gone. Okay. Help! No, I'm just kidding. It's been good. Yeah, man. I mean, working at Troma is how I met you guys. Is how we scheduled this interview. Yeah. I mean, it's been good because everything that I do here is so connected with what I already do for my own film that it's kind of like, for instance, one of my biggest jobs right now is I'm booking Lloyd's new movie, Shakespeare Shitstorm, all across the country right now and the world. I mean, frankly. And so when I'm talking to these people, once we get the dates booked, I'm just like, also, I have this movie, I Need You Dead. Would you be interested in checking it out? And I send the trailer, and it's like the greatest lead ever because none of these people would have given me the time of day. But because I get to open with Lloyd Kaufman and I'm representing Troma and like, people, Troma likes to pretend like nobody gives a shit about them anymore, but it's just not true. And I mean, you guys are all proof of that. So it's been really good working here. It's been very beneficial and a lot of good stuff has happened, like this happening and I Need You Dead getting picked up by a distributor a few months ago, kind of happening in the same time period, has given the movie like a huge second life where we're getting a lot of press and a lot of screenings, and it's been good. So Troma has been good. It is a little exhausting sometimes. It is a chaotic entity that is kind of meandering and doesn't know what it's doing half the time, but I like to think that I'm helping make Troma go in a productive direction while I'm here.
Wow, interesting.
I gotta say, it would be pretty dope if we got both films in Providence. That would be awesome, man.
Well, I think we already have Shitstorm booked. Pretty sure we got that locked down.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll have to do I Need You Dead too, and we'll see if the dates line up that they happen at the same time. But if not, so be it. I'll come up for both, whatever.
Nice.
Sweet, man.
So we've been promoting Trauma Now on our social media for Trovember. What are
Oh,
some of your
thanks.
favorite trauma films that inspired you guys to take this style of filmmaking?
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Well,
man,
come on.
I've
What's your
literally-
favorite trauma
I've-
movie, Estevan?
I almost feel like I'm literally gonna get kicked off like after this, but I've never seen a single trauma movie. Crazy stuff. I know. I'm so sorry. I could just leave now, but
No, it makes it more interesting.
Rocko showed me one that as I was watching it, I was like, wow, this is very creative. I think it's probably the most basic 101 hit. I think it was Toxic Avenger.
Oh,
It may have been Toxic Avenger, like which I'm assuming is like, oh, everybody loves Toxic Avenger.
Sure. Yeah.
But some of those movies though can be like a good entry points, and I enjoyed what I saw. But and I don't know, it's kind of interesting, right? Because like I did, collaborate. I don't know what I brought to I Need You Dead, successfully or unsuccessfully, is like not of a trauma influenced thing. So I don't know. Ideally, you want like a little a mixture of influences about
your character. Like, the party scene definitely was like reminiscent of a trauma movie. There was so many elements in that, in the beginning party scene, that was like, oh wow, this is. But then as it went along, it didn't feel that way throughout the whole film. It had like so many different directions. So whether you tried to or not, like that beginning scene definitely had a lot of feels of a trauma movie.
And that's the thing, is I could not have had Estevan be the lead for the movie if he was a diehard trauma fan, because dude was a very complicated character that had to start off very slapstick and goofy, but then had to get to like a serious place that most trauma movies won't go to. And so, I know that Estevan can play the goofball, but he's also like an honest actor, which one thing I love about trauma movies is that most of them aren't really honest actors, and they are kind of just goofballs, and that's a part of the cornball fun of it, and I love that. But it wouldn't have been the right role. But in terms of the question of favorite trauma movies, I mean the pinnacle for me of trauma and of Lloyd Kaufman's filmography is Terra Firma. It's one of my favorite films of all time. It's one of the most important. I believe it's one of the most important films ever made.
I think that's the one you showed me.
I bet
was like there's a scene where Lloyd is like talking to his own crew, and he's like, there's like a monologue. There's like you get a sense of like the philosophy that he is just kind of driven by doggedly. And I saw that one. Okay, so it wasn't Toxic.
There you go. So I'm glad I showed you that instead of Toxic, because I mean, Terra Firma, it's a trauma fans movie for sure. Like, but at the same time, it's just like anybody who's involved with filmmaking, I feel like can connect to it. And Terra Firma, without going into spoilers of the film, Terra Firma like clearly has like a huge influence on I Need You Dead, in a very different way. But I mean, God, Lloyd Kaufman, casting himself in his own movie playing a blind director is just so just magnificent, and it makes me respect him so much, because he's so accomplished. But no matter how old he gets, and no matter how many chips you'd think he'd have on his shoulder, he's never ever above making fun of himself and just dancing around like a dork on screen. And Terra Firma is kind of just his most brilliant dance.
I have to say though, his cameo in your movie might be one of my favorite cameos ever.
Whoa,
backwards
really?
hat, like
backwards
hat, like punk teenager.
Right.
I don't love nobody except for punk rock and independent cinema. I love that.
Yeah.
It's a passionate performance he gives. I was impressed. I was like, wow, like he's really going for it.
He really did. He was like a human version of Bart Simpson or something. He was awesome.
Let me tell you a funny story about that cameo. So we flew out to New York, and we were just hanging out here, and we were like, we want Lloyd to be in the movie, but we wanted to be with him if we were going to do something to make sure it was really a good cameo. And I told him what we wanted to do, and he was like, great, sounds good. And then on his way to do the cameo, he called me and he was like, oh, Rocko, I don't know, my like aunt or like a relative of mine, she's in the hospital, like I think she's on her last leg, I don't know, like he's like, I'm still gonna come do the cameo, but we might have to, like kind of wrap it up. And I was like, Lloyd, if your relative's dying, like go to the hospital, like fine. Lloyd's like, no, we're gonna do it. And so then like Lloyd shows up and we do the cameo and we cover Lloyd head to toe in blood. And then he's like, okay, well, I gotta go. And like he literally goes to the hospital like covered in blood to go visit like his dying relative.
Oh
like
my God.
the dude is like he's just on his own plane of existence.
Yes.
That's funny.
But yeah, it was, and like literally right as his Uber driver pulled up, he like pulled out like a fresh cigarette and lit it, and the Uber driver just like watched him smoke the entire thing. It was fucking awesome. Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, a little story about that cameo.
I love it.
Yeah, so I think it's cool that you give your viewers a behind the scene look at your work. Like, have you attended film school, and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so that's a funny thing. So I went to Portland State University, and I went to get a degree in film. And I had already made plenty of shorts and stuff in high school, and I had known Estevan already, and we were making stuff. But I was in film school, and yeah, man, all you did was watch movies and spend a whole lot of money. And I found myself in, if you're getting a Bachelor of the Arts, in many schools, you have to learn a second language. And that's like a part of a film degree. Like you have to like take at least 2 years of another language. And I was sitting in my German class, storyboarding a short that I really wanted to make called Meat Lovers. Yeah. And I was sitting there storyboarding, and then my teacher is like, okay, Rocko, it's your turn. And then I like looked up, I was like, for what? And she was like, today is the final presentation. And I was like, final presentation for what? And she's like, what do you, it's your, like, we've like, and I like, they've been doing presentations for like an hour, and I'm just like completely zoned out with my headphones in, like doing these storyboards. And then the entire class is just like looking at me like I have just failed all of them so miserably. It was like one of the most humiliating moments of my entire life. And I just like, I couldn't even handle it. And I just walked out of the classroom, and I was just like, no, sorry. Like, I can't do this anymore. And then she was like, what do you mean? I just left the class. And then I called my parents and I said, hey guys, like I'm dropping out. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I know this is wrong. I know I'm wasting my time. And I know if I just go make this short, Meat Lovers, I know it'll do something better for me and what I want to do in film than if I stay here learning German, 6 hours a week. And my parents were hesitant, but they were like, okay, if that's what you got to do, then maybe give it a shot. You can always go back next semester or whatever. And so I went, and I was working like 3 jobs at the time. But at night I would go to a Sherry's, and I would go work on Meat Lovers every night for like 3 hours from like 1 to 4 in the morning or so. And then we made Meat Lovers. We put it on, Trauma said they were going to show it at their festival in New York. And so then I flew out. I met Lloyd. He invited me to work on his next feature, Shakespeare Shitstorm. I flew back to New York, worked on that, learned what it was like. That was my film school, working on that. Then I came back to Portland, and then I was like, aha, now I know how to make a movie. And then I made I Need You Dead. So that's my take on film school.
Yeah, because it was cool. Like I was sitting there looking at it, because when you were making the Meat Lovers, you started doing that behind the scenes, kind of like Lloyd's Make Your Own Damn Movie, like the slice by slice and everything like that.
Yeah, so, I'm glad you checked that out. Yeah, it's criminally underviewed right now, but one day.
It'll pick up traction.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Funny, I just read that book.
What's that?
Make Your Own Damn Movie. I just read the book. I just finished the book, and there's when I was watching the film, I'm like, there's a lot of similarities here.
Yeah.
I mean,
the book is in the movie.
The book is in the movie. Yeah.
But a few times, and I was like, there we go. And I meant to bring it up. So, that was pretty cool. Nice placement there. How was it working with? You said you worked on Shakespeare Shitstorm. You had the Shithouse guys were on that film too. Did you guys work together, and how was it?
Yeah. Ben, who's
Ben
directing
and
Where
Derek.
Dear, Ben flew out to Portland, and for $200, he worked on our movie as our set designer for 2 weeks. So I mean, I doubt that even covered his airfare. So, but he's a wonderful guy, and yeah, working on Shakespeare's Shitstorm. I mean, like I said, it was my film school, and it was just the most incredible experience. I just had no idea how a movie was made until I did that film, and I showed up as a PA, and I came a couple weeks early because I knew if I came early, I might be able to like kind of weasel into something better than just being a production assistant. And sure enough, after about a week, the DP asked me if I would be a grip, which is kind of like an electrician, like lighting guy. And so I got in on that, and I didn't even know that like electricity was like a part of filmmaking in such a complex way, where it's like just, oh man, just totally nuts. And all this terminology of like that light's called a 1K and a 350 and a tungsten and an LED, blah, blah, blah. Like it just goes on and on, all this stuff. And I just learned so much about what it really means to make a movie on Shitstorm. And I met Justin Martell and John Brennan, who produced Shitstorm, Return to Nukem High, and are currently the showrunners of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs on Shudder. Yep. Which Justin hired me on as an associate producer a few months back. So I worked on the newest season that's coming out right now. Awesome. So Shitstorm, I mean, it just opened all the doors that I've been walking through the past year. Yeah.
You didn't have to be covered in poop at all?
No, there wasn't. I didn't get covered in poop, but I do melt in the film. I'm in a diaper, nice. And I melt. So that's worse.
Oh, you're one of the diaper mafia.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm a diaper mafia member, and I melt in the film, and I'm on the poster in one of the TVs. You see my melting face, and I'm like,
oh, sweet.
So that's definitely a little mini dream come true there.
Yeah. Is that also a dream of yours, Estevan, to one day be in a diaper?
That wasn't the dream.
I misinterpreted. I'm sorry.
I love diapers personally. I haven't stopped. I'm still in a diaper. So I don't know. I am living the dream here. Yeah.
We were gonna say something about it, but I just figured I'd let it go actually. So what was it? So casting the character Dude in the film, you went with Estevan. How'd you know that he was gonna be Dude? Like how did you come up with that decision? And Estevan, I'm gonna ask you, like, when you saw the character or you read about the character, what were your initial thoughts?
Okay, well, with Dude, I mean, it was interesting because it's one of those things where you like look back and you realize like, oh, I was like destined to play Dude. Like it wasn't gonna ever be anyone else. But you know, that was like a gradual realization. Like I was earnestly just reading the I Need You Dead script. And just giving him notes. And yeah, I don't know, you know, like I've made and acted in a bunch of other movies before. And I don't know, I was just earnestly trying to give him feedback. But yeah, I mean, over time, and I think probably when the script became more and more solidified and there was less speculation and more like definitive, like, no, like these are who these characters are. It just seemed a little obvious to me that I would play him for. I just felt like I could do the sort of insecure, goofy bit fairly well, but then also I knew like what Rocko would be asking of an actor in terms of like the second half of the movie.
Sure.
And also I just figured that because I was so close to Rocko, that to me it was just like, look, like it's going to like it's extremely easy to like ask me to do these like very outlandish things, and it would be very difficult for you to like do that for a stranger. So also, I don't know, I felt emboldened by kind of like, I'm a close friend and he's asking this actor to like do some pretty outlandish kind, you know, pretty like vulnerable things, and I just figured like oh, like I will do that for you, like no problem, because like we're close friends. So it was like a big mix of both. It was like both, like I knew I could do the role, but then also I kind of had the sense that like it would just be easiest if I just played him. And I don't know, I have like a lot of like acting experience, so I didn't necessarily feel like I was like just like, yeah, I'm just kind of like making shit up as it goes, which is kind of what it felt when we were actually filming it for me. But like, I don't know, it just felt, I felt confidence pre-filming that
Sure.
I wouldn't like hold the film back, that I could deliver what he wanted, and I could even go the extra mile, like based on like the second half of the script, which is, you know, it becomes much different than the first third.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my take on that. But Rocko, why me, man? Why?
Because you did it for free.
That was
I'm
another
just
thing.
kidding.
There
No,
you go.
it from the start, I like, you know, knew in my heart that it was gonna be Estevan. But I like how everything I say is news to you.
Kind of sounds like it. This
You're
is
like,
an interesting interview. I'm gonna
Really?
I'm gonna listen to this later.
Yeah. But no, but yeah, I knew it was going to be Estevan, but and in the same regard that I knew that another character was definitely going to be a particular person who I will not say, but you all know hopefully who I'm talking about. But I still put those two characters through auditions with many people auditioning for Dude and this other unnamed character. And because it just was like, yes, it obviously makes sense for these two characters to be played by these two people. But you know, but it's like, but let's put that to the test and let's see some other people do it. And if some other people come in and just totally destroy it and we have to reconsider it, then so be it. But I want to make the best movie possible. And when we were, you know, when we were working on this movie, my mantra to everybody that I met with was, we're trying to make the greatest movie ever made, which is like a totally crazy thing to say, but it's like also really exciting to say things like that and to set the bar really high and kind of go into every decision with, well, if we're making the greatest movie ever made, then how are we going to cast our lead? Are we not going to host auditions just because we have a great person? Are we not going to give ourselves options? It was like, no, of course we have to have auditions, you know. But then it's like, once it made sense that, okay, well, yeah, obviously Estevan's going to do it, and we saw these other actors and they were fine, but Estevan's just, you know, him being willing to do crazy stuff and doing it for free and being my friend, all of that aside, at the end of the day, all that mattered was the performance and his actual interpretation of the character, which in the auditions was the best.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really ever, once the auditions happened, it just, you know, it solidified it. He had the ability to play the character. And
you know, it made me nervous though. It was, I'm glad that, because it's obviously, you know, like I was a producer too, and I was like watching my own tapes. Like we were all watching like the casting tapes, but it definitely made me, I was like very sure, like when I was walking into the audition, like, oh yeah, like all I have to do is just trust my instincts and I got this. But there are like several actors that came in and I saw their audition of Dude and I was like, fuck! Like, oh no! But yeah, ultimately it's good though, right? Because I agree, like, you know, all that stuff aside, like I did feel like I had to like still, you know, prove myself.
Yeah.
And I felt like I still had to do the best job possible. So yeah.
I think you nailed the part. I mean, I'm not just saying that because we're here with you right now. I really like enjoyed your performance. So I think that was
very much
a good casting call. I guess I want to get a little bit into the film, and obviously we want to avoid giving any spoilers or, you know, ruining the film for people. But I think it's safe to touch on some of these subjects. So the first thing I want to talk to you about a little bit is how the film really shines a light on like the creative process and how much it can consume someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, without giving any spoilers, I was wondering like if you can just kind of speak to that a bit and like what you were trying to convey as the like to the viewer.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I Need You Dead, you know, is it's like I'm like, okay, what border do I want to walk? Like how far in do I want to go? I mean, ultimately, I Need You Dead is, yeah, it's a commentary on the creative process, but it's also a commentary on just where I feel the current state of film is, especially in the independent kind of like horror based world, where there is this like undying just like horny lust for like 80s nostalgia, and just like to a point where I almost think it's like unhealthy, where like every new movie is just like trying to redo it, because I love all that stuff. I got my fucking Gremlins mug over here, like, you know what I mean? Like I got my Back to the Future action figure on the desk. Like I got it all. Like I love it. But like, hello, let's make something new. Like, let's move on. Let's like make a new wave of RoboCops and Back to the Futures. But like, it doesn't have to be all synthesizers and pretty colors the entire way through, and just like, oh yeah, the void, oh so great, like it sounds like the Halloween score if you just like threw it in a blender. Like I don't know, like I'm sorry, I get a little tangenty with this, but like I wanted to make a movie that kind of like reeled in people who were gonna be like, oh, I Need You Dead looks like this cool 80s throwback, wow great, I can't wait to watch it, I love Stranger Things. Blah. And then,
that's what Josh said to me when we watched the trailer together.
Really? He was like, you just like Stranger Things. No, but like I wanted to like kind of reel in those people and then slap them across the face with a bit more of like a, I don't know, just like a more like conceptual, weird movie that narratively is kind of just like, fuck you. You don't get the story that you want. And I just wanted to make people who were excited for that kind of movie maybe rethink what they want out of their movies. And that was like that was like my thesis for the film, like from the very beginning. And ultimately, the response has been exactly what I expected, which is what I wanted, where like a lot of people watch it and they're like, I thought this was going to be fun, and then I wanted to kill myself at the end. This movie sucks ass. Or they're like, I thought it was going to be really stupid, but then it ended up being kind of smart. And then some people went in being like, I went in with an open mind and I liked it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, that's nice.
Yeah,
right.
That's great. I wish all people would do that, but it's not how the world works. People go in, they read a book by its cover, and we were kind of having a conversation before you guys jumped in, just about like, how different this film is. And I kind of like quickly watched a bunch of scenes over again before we met today, because partly because I wanted to just brush up on a couple of things to make sure I was like correct on, but also because I really want to revisit some of those scenes. So for me, it kind of left something like I want to go back to it. And then good.
As we're talking about it, I'm kind of getting, it's like a little reminiscent to the experience I had with watching Are We Not Cats, which I think is not a film that most horror fans would like just go out and see nowadays, because it's like it's an odd movie. It's not like the, aesthetically it's got some like throwbacks, but it's just like narrative wise it's not like the 80s films that everybody's kind of regurgitating these days. So I feel like this would have been a film that, even if had we not connected prior to watching it, I feel like if we got the chance to watch it, we probably would have been interested in talking to you about it anyway, because it's such an interesting film.
That's nice. I appreciate that. And I'm sorry that I come off so bitter. But I Need You Dead is like probably like the most like hateful movie that I'll ever do.
Well, that's
like,
good. That's good. Get it out of your system now.
It really is. It is like the emotions of like a young, like pissed off kind of like punk artist, like wanting to make an impact on entrance. And like, I don't think I'll ever make a movie as like depressing and as just like frustrating to watch as I Need You Dead ever again. I just don't have an interest in doing that, but I am glad that we did it. Was
it cathartic for you to get that out of your system?
Yeah. Yeah, it's super. I mean, I was horribly depressed before I made I Need You Dead. I was a total wreck, and like, um, one of the opening scenes has a character, standing in a shower, just like bashing their head against the wall, just like cussing at themselves, and like, I mean, literally, that was my life for so long, where I literally would just scream at myself in the bathroom and just like mow my, like, it was terrible. Like, and I knew, and it was funny because after Meat Lovers, I was still in that headspace, in that world, around the time that Estevan moved in. Maybe, no, I'm just kidding. No, but I was still kind of in that world, and I started developing a script called Cop Killer. And it was going to kind of just be like another Trauma endeavor, because Meat Lovers was very much like a tribute to Trauma kind of thing I wanted to do. And Cop Killer was going to be like a tribute to Trauma again, but in the form of like a feature. And as I got deeper into it, my depression was like, the weight of it became greater. I started to kind of realize, like, man, like this isn't what I need to do. Like, Trauma is great and all, but like, this something about the burden of the depression I had and my pursuit of filmmaking felt so disconnected. And then I kind of had this aha moment where I was like, I need to make a movie about how I feel, and I just know somehow it's going to help. And so that's where the antithesis of Dude and the Creature as like two characters came from, and it kind of evolved from there.
Yeah.
Well,
That's go ahead, Brandon. Sorry.
No, I was saying, because I was touching on like how you said, like, when you, this headspace you were in when you made this film. Like, Estevan, you're a rapper. Like, like when you first listen to like one of your favorite artists, like, albums, they put all that hard work into it. And then so as their career goes on, like, you always go back to that first album because it's like that was so raw. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
there is always something very, I mean, it's like kind of what Rocko said in terms of just like, I mean, and generally, right. That's why some, I mean, I mean, it's just like, right. There's just an energy and a rebelliousness and a youthfulness that isn't necessarily monopolized by a young person, because it's ultimately, it's a state of mind. It might be easier to be in that headspace as just a younger person, but I mean, I think those are where these really, at times, like on a technical level, and I'm talking just like from a variety of genres and mediums, like on a technical level, it might be not the work of a master, but like there is something within the spirit and the mindset of how it was made and how it was put together that is striking, and it's just kind of like, fuck you. And I think that's just kind of like it's a tale as old as time. And I think I'm just glad to be a part of Rocko's. This is Rocko's Illmatic. No, I'm just playing. but no, it's fun. It's fun to be a part of a fuck you.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I can contribute some of my skills to a fuck you.
Well, you said that you I mean, this is directed to Rocko specifically. Again, Estevan, I'm cutting you out, man. I'm sorry.
I'm
Josh is hating though, man.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm hating on you today. I'm really sorry. But you said it was like an 80s film, but it wasn't. And watching it, that was one of the things we were talking about. The cinematography's amazing in this film. And I was telling the guys, I'm like, it's almost like that old school underground, like, analog. And
the shot on video.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Was that on purpose? And why? What was because you don't really see too much of that at all, but it looked fucking amazing.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I just wanted to talk to you about it. Like, was that part of the visual process of the whole thing before you started or while you were filming?
Yeah, so Brooks Hauser, I'll immediately shout out, who's our director of photography, who I work really, really well with. He's always up to trying new things, and with me, you're constantly having to try new things. It's just like it's just like I just love that style of filmmaking where it's just like someone's eating a potato chip And then the first idea is like, well, obviously the camera should like go 360 degrees around his head like 8 times as he's eating the potato chip, because it's just like, that's fun. And I love fun cinematography. Like, it's just like, it's why I love Troma. It's why I love Edgar Wright. You know, it's why I love Sam Raimi. You know, so many filmmakers just they do it so right, and it just like, and it's great because when you put an audience in front of a movie like that, they don't even know that they love the cinematography. They just know that they are like entranced by this strange film. And I just think it's one of the greatest magic tricks that you can pull on an unsuspecting audience that doesn't cost a lot of money. It just requires you to sit down and think about how you want to do it, how you're going to make it different. And yeah, I mean, it was all from the start, from storyboarding, all the shots. The entire film was very detailed in terms of how we storyboarded it. Brooks and I would spend, you know, maybe 3 hours a night at a Denny's storyboarding out every shot of the movie. And so every, you know, there's a lot of detailed things like dude reaching into his pocket, and then the pocket is like this huge abyss with guitars and stuff in it. And, you know, all that stuff was a lot of work, but I think it pays off. I think it helps a lot with kind of our bait and switch being even more tragic, just giving all this kind of eye candy, and then hurting the audience.
Well, that brings me to my next question. So the first half of the movie, I actually I stopped it and I texted the guys, and I was like, literally having a flashback. I'm like, guys, what the fuck is happening right now?
An acid flashback?
Yeah. So
Holy shit.
I literally wrote this question as I was like, I texted them and then immediately wrote this question down. It says, how many trips did you guys go on to make this film? Or should I say, how much drugs did you actually do? And then there was another one on top of that. Is this based on a trip?
That's really funny. Me and Rocko have some done acid
on one trip
together. Right? Yeah, it was what we tried. I don't. Here's the thing, though. I'm convinced it wasn't acid. I think it was speed, because what ended up happening was we were just like circling around this neighborhood, talking very rapidly for like 2 hours, and I was like, this. I had never done acid before. I mean, I don't know. I remember the walls breathing at one point, and I was like, okay, that's a little acidy, but it felt very tweaky at the same time. And I was like, I don't know if this is acid, man. But no, that was a fun time. There was a moment where Rocko was having this, like, the best way to describe it is just like, it's Jerry Seinfeld having an existential crisis. Like, we were just like walking on a bridge, and what's the point of everything? I don't know. Like, it was a pretty beautiful moment, but that's the extent of my specific with Rocko tripping stories. I don't know. Maybe you remember that day differently, Rocko.
No, that's exactly how it went. I mean, it's a funny thing. I mean, yeah, Josh, I mean, we did a lot. I did a lot of acid, but all before the making of the film. Never on set or anything, like never smoked any weed on set, never did any psychedelics on set. It was all coffee and Adderall. Yeah, I had an interesting relationship with psychedelics. You know, I grew up in a Christian household. I'm the only member of my entire extended family, cousins, aunts, uncles, and all, who's not Christian. So it's a little strange thing, but
I'm sure there's some closet non-Christians that maybe just like
not that I know of.
Well, they're the closeted. They wouldn't, or they wouldn't want to know.
I'm the only not closeted Christian in my family.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry I cut you out, man. You're my new favorite guy right here.
What? What the fuck is going on here?
This is my interview.
I did a lot of acid before the making of the film, and I had a lot of fun on acid. I definitely had ideas for the film on acid, but I will say that I wrote a draft of the script that was like very heavy in my acid days, and I remember showing it to Estevan, and he just fucking hit the floor sleeping. He hated it. He just literally was snoring. Like, we were doing like a read through, and I was like reading lines, and then it came turn for him to read, and it was just like, and I was like, bro, that's not the line. And then he was like literally just drooling all the fuck over himself.
That's hilarious.
I don't think I perform well creatively on acid or psychedelics or anything like that. And acid started to like kind of turn on me at a certain point. My trip started getting like really paranoid, and I haven't done acid in a handful of years now. But yeah, I mean, I Need You Dead is like totally based in a lot of those trips that I had, and a lot of just like, and I think that my trips were kind of like started to become kind of like negative or frustrating for me, or I was kind of just burnt out. I was doing it all the time. And I think that at the time I was doing acid to combat my depression, because, a lot of it can be a really uplifting, euphoric experience. And I think that just every time I wasn't on it, I wanted to be on it more. And I was doing it. I was like waking up at 7 a.m, popping in a couple of tabs and going to work. Like, it was getting kind of intense. And I think that I Need You Dead is kind of about like when the acid's over, what sits before you at your bed. And I think that was a huge part of this. And so to actually make I Need You Dead, I had to stop so that I could like look back and see what was really going on and kind of continue the narrative.
So the character of Dude, it's like those moments where he's like super vulnerable and is filled with all these emotions and sad and everything like that. That's almost like you when the acid isn't in your system anymore. That kind of come down.
That's the sober. Dude's not looking up at the stars because he thinks they look pretty. You know what I mean? It's because he wants something more.
Yeah.
Oh, Rocko, we have a lot in common on that one. Let me tell you. That's pretty awesome. My son just came in. He's heard that whole thing about how acid was awesome. And
no, I'm on Zoloft now. Don't do it.
I can't wait to do acid, Dad.
Is that where you got the creature from? Because I gotta say, I've had a few trips where I've had my own creature per se.
Oh wow!
Really? You saw like a flesh and balls talking to you? Not to make it sound crazy or anything.
You know what?
He's got some better stories than that, actually, that make him sound way crazier. Hang around with this guy a little bit.
There's so quick story for you.
No, don't talk about that, Josh. Not the
fantastic action figure. And I used to take
that one's all right.
Sleeping pills by the handfuls, and I did a lot of acid too. And Mr. Fantastic started talking to me, and he was very scientific and very. So I used to put him in my pocket, and it was like 3 months straight.
Whoa.
I carried him in my pocket, and he talked to me every day and told me what to do with my life. And I was like, I'm on top of the world, thanks. And Reed Richards, you're my best man. And then one day he just stopped talking to me. And I fucking lost my mind because he stopped talking to me.
Wow, holy crap.
So,
what was the kind of stuff like specifically? Was he just like, oh, you should take out a loan and start a business? Like what kind of advice? Yeah.
He was telling me who to rob and who not to rob. And he was like, if you were gonna hit on a girl, you should really aim a little lower and go for this one. That way you get lucky. And
that's like I Need You Dead.
Yeah. When I was watching it, that's why I was having a flashback.
Oh my god!
Wow!
Wow,
like,
that's amazing.
This is my life.
Wow, that's amazing. No, I mean, look. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I had a lot of crazy ass experiences for sure. I mean, plenty of psychedelic tales. I could write my own book at this point. Most notably, that I worked at Ben & Jerry's at the time and did acid once, and in the bathroom, and then I came out to scoop some ice cream for a child, and my scooper, the second it hit the ice cream, I saw Bessie, the cow that it came from, and I heard the cowbell jingling, and like I was like there on the farm with the cow, and it was like looking me dead in the eyes. And then like it wasn't until the little girl was like, "What's wrong?" that I like was like, "Oh," and like came back to Ben & Jerry's. So like, I've had my shit. Yeah, the creature itself, I mean, I really think like, yes, like that voice, unfortunately, is more just like a part of my life, whether I'm high or not, like kind of all the time. But like much worse before I made the film. Now it's like calmed down a lot more. And when I hear that voice in my head, it's so much more like, oh, it's that stupid character that I put in a movie once.
Interesting.
Which is nice because
Yeah.
it's almost like putting it on screen just like made it like, and separating it from myself. It's like, that's not me. That's like this crazy thing that I don't like need to attend to. And I think, you know, doing acid and stuff maybe is like part of the basis that like got me to think about it that way. But like, was I ever tripping balls and then like saw the creature in front of me talking to me? Like, no. I wish I could say yes, it'd be more interesting.
Like what you're talking about, Rocko, is actually super interesting because when I work, so I do therapy with individuals, like outpatient therapy, and
interesting.
So what you're describing is what we would call like cognitive distortions, which are like negative thought processes or whatever, like all that negative self-talk that we do. And a lot of times I'll have them like view it as like a separate entity is talking to them. Like your negative thoughts are this, like I'll have them visualize stuff, and I actually embed like horror into the work that I do sometimes if it connects with the patients. And I'll be like, you know, pretend it's like Babadook or something is like depression, represents depression. And when you hear those negative thoughts, like it's not you, it's, you know, it makes it easier to like fight back against things when you don't think of it as yourself. So that's, you know, it's interesting. I feel like you were kind of doing that.
Yeah, no, I think 100% I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also like, you know, I think everyone has those negative self-talks, but it's, you know, it just sounds like that because the goal isn't to just like, oh, just work on yourself to the point where you just have no more self-doubt or no more fears or worries or pains, because that's just extremely unrealistic. But the idea is to just like accept those things, but just like live the life that you want to and make the decisions you want to, like in spite of them. And yeah, part of it, I'm totally with you. Like I like name certain voices in my head, like, oh, that's Adam, that's someone who's like, he can be a little manipulative every now and then. And like I get these people, various parts of like my psychic orchestra talking to each other. And I'm only saying this just because, it does sound like it sounds like maybe your true vocation is being a counselor, Rocko. I think you should give up this filmmaking stuff ASAP and just be a counselor. But no. I think it's cool to hear that.
Yeah. So how about the visual of the creature? Where did that idea and that design come from?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because there's certain ideas with the films that we do that just come out of thin air. And like, for instance, I have no idea where the name I Need You Dead came from. But it's existed for a long time. And with the creature, I mean, the one thing that I knew was that the creature wasn't to have eyes. And that was always a very conscious decision, because I want it to be that, you know, of the voice in your head is a different voice than your own, but it still sees the same things that you do. So there's only a voice, there's only a mouth on the creature, but no eyes, because it still sees the same world that dude does, but it's just a different voice. So that's something that, you know, was a conscious decision. I think just having him be, you know, kind of a fleshy, kind of gremlin inspired. I think a big part of it was that I wanted it to be like a gremlin or something, or like a critter, or like, you know, something like that. But it was just like, I knew we didn't have the budget for like a puppet with legs and a mouth, talking, and arms and walking around. And I just knew that would be budget wise like impossible. So Yeah, it was just like, well, let's make him a fucking ball. Have him
It kinda
roll
went with
around
that
if they
same-
want.
Yeah, we went the same vibe from Brain Damage, with
Yeah.
Elmer.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
reminded me of that.
I got my photo right here of, hopefully I don't break my computer trying to show it. My little photo of me and Frank Kennenlauder
Oh,
nice.
sweet.
on the set of Joe Bob.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I watched Brain Damage for the first time the day before my first day where I was acting, because my scenes didn't start till like a week into the production, so I was still kind of just like
You
hanging
watched
around.
Brain
but-
Damage?
Yeah, the night before we went to Estacada, Oregon to film like the creature like coming. Or I guess
I hadn't
can't.
even seen Brain Damage at that point.
No, I watched it.
I know. I'm saying that I hadn't
Wow,
even
that's
seen it.
interesting. Oh,
That's funny that you watched it. You didn't watch it in preparation for the role, did you?
I kind of did, just because Willie and August were like, this movie is very similar to the
Oh.
one that I need. Willie and August were the costume designers, and I had stayed the night at their house too, so they could drive me to Estacada because I don't have a driver's license. But
That's funny.
yeah. And no, it's a good movie. I do like Brain Damage.
Uh,
Yeah, I love Frank. Love Henenlotter. Love Frankenhooker. Love Brain Damage. But I did not become a fan of his stuff until after we shot the film. I didn't. I had never seen any of his stuff, and once we dropped the trailer, 99% of the comments were, "Oh my god, it's just like Brain Damage! Oh my god!"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fuck that!" But then I watched it, and I was like, "No, that's cool. Brain Damage." And honestly, and like at its core, like, it is like a very similar to Brain Damage. It's just one's about depression, one's about addiction, essentially. But Frank's movie is obviously incredibly different. And he's become a friend. And he's a great guy, and I think he's planning on watching the movie soon. So I'm definitely curious to hear what he'll have to say about it.
That's great. Hey, Estevan, I want to ask you about what the process was like playing across from something that you have to pretend is interacting back with you with the creature.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and it didn't honestly it doesn't. Well, I think the beauty was we had decided early on to pre-record all of the creature's lines. So obviously, I'm not talking to an actual flesh ball, but the actor Ty Anderson, who's amazing, he's a fantastic voice actor that we found in Washington. A week before we started filming everything, we recorded all of his lines, and we kind of we went over to his house, and he did 30 different characters in 10 minutes, and then he got to work, and we kind of just directed him through the whole movie. And so I bring that up because it was honestly working with the creature in terms of acting, it really wasn't that different than what I normally think about when I'm just acting with an actual person, in that I just want to listen. I just want to try to do my best to just listen to the other actor and just hopefully try to respond genuinely just through that. And so, it was a lot of fun because we had the voice. It would have been much different if it was Rocko behind the camera during those scenes and doing the creature's voice. It probably wouldn't have been as good. But because we had such a distinct idea of just what that creature sounded like, it made it just easy, because I was just able to just really focus on the voice recording. I guess it was a little different because ideally when you're doing it with another person acting in a scene, it's fun to bounce off their spontaneous, because sometimes instead of saying this word this take, you said it like this, and that made me do something different, and that's a fun process in of itself. And I guess maybe that's the only thing that was sacrificed with hearing pre-recorded voice of the creature. But I don't know, I think it was honestly a lot of fun, and I think those were far from what I thought. Honestly, I thought acting with real actors was with other actors was harder than acting with the creature. Not because I felt I had to, not because I felt like I had to like, oh, I could be like a stupid actor with the creature, but I don't know, there was just something like stable about hearing those pre-recorded voice recordings as I was doing the take, where I had like something to count on in terms of reacting to it. So it was a lot of fun. Long story short.
Yeah, no, it seems like it would be.
Totally.
So that brings me to the big question. What's up with the Gizmomobile?
The Gizmobile. I'm glad you didn't think it was called the Jizzmobile.
I kind of did at one time.
Common mistake. And that was my car for a long time. And it was called the Gizmobile before we made the movie. It just kind of suddenly made sense to put it in the movie. And everybody thought it was called the Gizmobile. And I even had Gizmo plushies in the back seat, and still people would think it was the Gizmobile. And I even got to the point where I was just like, I should buy like a bunch of Gizmo stickers, you know, just like put them on the back so that people will see like that's Gizmo, like it's good, but you know, whatever.
It's not even spelled with a G; it's with a J.
I don't know. Is Jizz spelled? Yeah, it's
with a J, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what the fuck? But
I
It's
think
closer
people,
to jazz.
people want to see a Gizmobile. I think that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
just like there's something in the
psychological mind game.
Yeah, there's something in the collective consciousness that's just like, why the fuck hasn't anyone made a Gizmobile yet? So I think we were just unfortunately
Well,
kind of-
Gizmobile is clever because Gizmo.
Yeah.
Jizz is just jizz. I may as well have a thing called the Dorito Mobile or something.
That could
like
be a
it's
next
not-
short film. The Gizmobile.
Yeah.
Gizmobile. Oh god. Yeah, if I go into
Make
porn. Taco Rocko. We'll see. Yeah. It's dead now. The Gizmobile has died. Yeah.
So
We've
you
had,
like
two
a
cars since then too.
Yeah.
Are you a Gizmo super fan?
I am. Yeah, I
I know
got
you got the mug. Yep.
I got my trading cards.
Oh wow.
I got my my plushie.
Yep.
Awesome.
Brandon's got something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got the plushie too.
Oh, nice. You got the Gremlins
Spike.
too. Nice.
Not
Hell
Gizmo
yeah.
though. I have the other Gizmo, the same one that you had though, but
I need
And you
some
got
more
your
Gremlins
lizard's
2
named
stuff.
Gizmo, Brandon.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Yes.
dope. That's dope. Yeah, I'm a huge Gremlins 2 fan. Super underrated.
yeah.
Super fun. Yeah.
I actually seen the second one before the first one, and then I was like,
Wow.
what the
Oh,
fuck?
you're on some other fucking. All right.
So Rocco, Estevan, can you guys each tell us what do you guys have in store now that I Need You Dead is, hitting theaters? You guys are going to be, obviously going to the premieres and stuff. But aside from that, what else do you guys have in store for us?
We have the same answer. Because we're writing a script together right now for the next feature.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and this one is because with I Need You Dead, it was, I think I wrote maybe like just a couple of lines, nothing to, I don't know. It was, I don't consider myself having co-written I Need You Dead really in any way, but this one's fun because this is a truly a very involved co-writing experiment. And I think both me and Rocco have written a bunch of scripts individually, even before meeting each other. But yeah, I don't know. I've never collaborated to this extent on a script. So basically we're developing the next movie, and it is just kind of happening and we're figuring it out, and it's exciting.
Yeah, we are, after this phone call or this interview, whatever we call it, this phone call, after this interview, we will have a phone call that will probably be upwards to 3 hours long, and we'll probably cover about 10 pages of the script revisions, because we really are, I've been saying this is kind of the mantra for the next film, which is called Flapjacks. And basically I Need You Dead was kind of like our punk, like, fuck the world, fuck the film industry, fuck everything that you like about movies, and narratively is intentionally frustrating. So to challenge that with Flapjacks, Estevan and I are really trying to craft like a pop song of a movie that is just like really fun, really catchy, you know, just
But-
kind of like a really refined experience. What were you
Yeah,
going to?
and something just like, yeah, because I do think by design, I Need You Dead is just this inherent kind of like rabbit hole of frustration. But you know, I think with the next one, we just a pop song and like a truly like satisfying narrative. And it's exciting because, you know, that's ultimately like a truly great pop song, a truly great 90-minute, 100-minute movie that's entertaining, but also just like truly dramatically involving, and one in which you know, feel deeply involved in the world. Not to say that I Need You Dead doesn't do that, but one where it's not a fuck you. You're inviting the audience along for the ride, and you want them to not squirm as much, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't, but ultimately what I'm getting at is it's very hard to do that. Like these great pop songs, like I feel like the concept of a pop song, a lot of times, you know, and I guess it depends on what kind of circles you're running in, but generally there can be a sort of like snobby sort of like, oh, like it's not experimental enough or something like that. But like that shit takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of imagination to truly do it well. And, you know, I love Back to the Future. I love Men in Black. I love, you know, these movies that I wouldn't necessarily say they like are just these extremely new experiments of film, but, you know, you get like respecting the craft of like doing something like it, like takes a lot of work. So I think it's very exciting to like, it feels like we're kind of to an extent playing, we like want to play the major chord just a little bit, because I feel like I Need You Dead is like the ultimate discordant, like some like witch in a dive bar with a broken finger is just like pounding on this like out of tune key on this piano, and like that's what I Need You Dead is, and it's dope. I respect Rocko for putting for like wanting to make that into a movie like that. That takes a lot of courage. But now it's like, I don't know, now it's not to say that there won't be dissonance musically, but yeah, it's got to be a little sweet though. It's got to be just a little more yeah, I don't know, inviting the audience along, I think.
Yeah, the original I Need You Dead was, we were trying to shock the audience and like kind of isolate them and like make them almost feel like kind of separated from the film experience. And this is like the complete opposite, where we want them to like fall in love with the world and the characters and just become completely immersed to the details of their relationships. And it's like I Need You Dead, I kind of considered almost like an anti-film, and this to me is like truly like just like a film as it is, as it should be, just like almost calling back to like some of my favorite films, like the Kurosawa, like Akira Kurosawa, like epics, like Seven Samurai and stuff like that. Just like almost these huge giant scope stories that just like you just get lost in them, and once the movie's over you're like, oh, I guess I'm back to like my normal life all of a sudden. Like it just pulls you in that deeply. That's kind of what we're going for with this one. So it's very exciting, and the script is just so detailed and such interesting characters, and it's such an incredible read, and we're selfishly not letting anybody look at it except for us. Even in our core crew, our camera guys, everyone's trying to get their hands on it, but with Estevan and I are like,
they're pounding on my doors. I hear them right now.
They are. But real, and even my fucking girlfriend who's going to produce it, I'm not even, no, like Estevan and I really.
Well, I mean, eventually we want to, but
they're gonna read it, but the standard is very high. Like we
want our bases.
Somebody read it, the ball starts fucking rolling. And it starts to slip out of your control. And so we need to let it incubate as long as possible before we let it out and let the, crack the door open a little bit.
We want to do our best to have our bases covered, but also, I'm very much looking forward to sharing it with everyone, because, as much as we will try to perfect this next script, we're going to show it to like the fucking mailman, and the mailman's gonna be like, oh, but like, what about this? And we're gonna both look at each other and be like, oh my god, I can't believe we just, not that we're literally gonna talk to the mailman, but generally just this idea of like, I think, you know, the script, I have a feeling that the script will probably be continually kind of tinkered with up until the very day. And that's, you know, it's what happened to I Need You Dead. Like there just comes periods in production for that, for whatever reason. A lot of them mostly logistical, that you just end up having to rewrite something. But no, I mean, it's being incubated right now, and we're just doing our best to surprise ourselves and challenge ourselves, and yeah.
Awesome.
Wait to check it out when you guys are finished with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll shoot next
absolutely.
year.
Yeah. So do us a favor, guys. Tell the listeners where to find you guys on social media and where to be looking.
Yeah, in regards to following what we're doing with film, Bad Taste Video, it's badtastevideo.net is our website, at bad.taste.video on Instagram, on Twitter and Facebook, just Bad Taste Video, on TikTok, Bad Taste Video. Michael Motorcycle blew up. Our music video that Brandon, we were talking about, Michael Motorcycle, blew up on TikTok. It went viral, actually.
That's awesome.
Crazy thing. So TikTok, we're on there, I guess, if you're 12 and watching this, or you're my significant other. But yeah, and then hit me up personally on Facebook or Instagram, Rocko Z. And if you have any interest in getting involved with Flapjacks and you'd like to be on our crew, the same way that Shakespeare's Shitstorm had an open door for me to come on and learn what it's like to make a movie, on I Need You Dead, we had the same thing. The doors were wide open, no experience required. We had people who had never held a boom mic before being our primary sound people, and everybody learned a ton. And Flapjacks will be no different. So please email me at rocko.badtaste@gmail.com if you would like to get involved with our crew and have free film school.
And then in terms of, yes to all that, but in terms of my own personal Instagram, it's estevan.etc, and you'll be in the know of the Bad Taste stuff, but then just the other creative stuff like the rapping and the other things I'm doing.
Yeah, we both make music separately too. So you follow Estevan, you follow Rocko Z, and you get the
whole creative picture.
You get the whole package.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys both so much for being here. This was a great conversation. So thank you guys.
Awesome. No, seriously, thank you. It was fun.
Thank you. I hope we didn't tangent too much. We're both really bad at that.
No.
I really appreciate, Joshua, you telling that story about the Robert Reed. I'm gonna be thinking about that. There's something haunting there that I'm just thank you for sharing. No, seriously.
Good short film idea.
Yeah, or something. There's something there you got in mind. So
you know what? My mind's pretty melted. I've been clean and sober for December will be 16 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. No, I haven't.
Good for you.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. I haven't.
Was that the tipping point? The Mr. Fantastic? Was that the tipping point?
No. I'm not allowed to go into the tipping point because the guys told me we're not allowed to talk about it. So.
Well, hey, you're here now, and you're doing great. You got a great looking office, and yeah.
Yeah, I still wake up in the middle of the night grasping the bed because I have the trails still sometimes.
Yeah.
And it happens when I lay down for some reason.
Wow.
So here later, and I'm gripping the bed. I think I'm falling off the bed.
My God.
Holy crap.
Take care of yourself, Joshua. Drink water.
I might have done it a little bit much.
Well, I want to just anybody listening, definitely keep an eye out for this film. You need to watch it, and I Need You Dead. So signing off, this is Dave.
Brandon.
This is Joshua.
And this
is Estevan and Rocko signing off. stuff.
Have a good night.
Take it
Thank
easy.
you so much.
That was amazing.
Um,